couple of things are very important to track. One would be your marketing number. As as you get into real estate investing or you scale your business, you will realize that generally speaking, for the most part, in a real estate investing business, marketing would be one of the biggest expenses you have on your P&L. So either be your marketing or payroll. I would say generally marketing, then payroll, but it'll be one of the top two expenses that you have. So really, really important that you're tracking your marketing in your business. And the most important number that, in my opinion, that you really should be tracking and know for every single marketing channel that you have is your ROI. So ROI is for every dollar that you put in your marketing, how much money you're making. So for example, let's say if you're doing PPC and direct mail. So I'm going to use that. Those are my two primary marketing channels that I use. So I'm going to use PPC and direct mail as an example. So if I'm putting, let's say if I'm not tracking my numbers at the marketing lead source or campaign level, what I might do is I might spend, let's say, $10,000 between direct mail and PPC combined. I don't have the breakdown. Let's just say it's total 10,000 and I make 50,000 from it. I'm like, this is fantastic. I spent 10,000, I made 50,000. But where it becomes really important is, you need to know, did you make that money from direct mail or PPC? Did you spend out of that 10,000? Did you spend 8,000 on direct mail and made $0 and you only spent 2,000 in PPC and actually made that $50,000? So that's why tracking your marketing at different lead source and within lead source, different campaign level becomes very, very important. We make our decisions on which marketing channel we need to double down on, which one we need to cut back on based on our KPIs number that we have. I mean, cost per lead and cost per deal are important to look at, but at the end of the day, the most important number is ROI. You could have an amazing cost of lead, but if you're not getting any deal out of it, then the cost per lead number doesn't really mean anything. And you could have a cost per deal of $10,000 to get one deal, but if you're making ROI of $10, every dollar you're putting in, you're making $10, but then cost of lead, cost per deal, it really doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's the most important number is ROI, right? So if you look at the extreme example, let's say your cost per deal is $500, and you're like, hey, I have the lowest cost per deal, but your ROI is only $2, right? For every dollar that you put in, you only make $2. What's the point of having a low cost of deal when your ROI is not good? So at the end of the day, everything that you're tracking, you want to make sure that you're driving this number as high as you possibly can. That is going to give you the highest return on investment. And if you can gain efficiency in your ROI, all of that efficiency is going to go directly into your net profit. So going back to the example of, you spend $10,000 between direct mail and PPC, you spend 8,000 direct mail and 2,000 PPC. Now, let's say you did not spend 8,000. You're like, hey, PPC is the only marketing I'm doing. That 8,000 that you saved, it goes directly into your net profit. So that's the power of having really good tracking, especially ROI looking at that. And then within that marketing channel, let's just say, you're doing direct mail. Within direct mail, you want to start looking at different campaigns that you're doing in your business. Let me do this. Different campaigns that you're doing. So if you're doing direct mail probate versus direct mail absentee, again, going back to the example of, let's say you spend 5,000 and you use the same tracking number for marketing to probate and absentee, and then you get a bunch of calls, you get a deal out of it. You're like, hey, this is great. I spent $5,000. I made 25 on it. I make 5x on my money. But again, the question is, did you make money on your probate list or your absentee list? That's where you want to start tracking them differently. Is it your probate list that's actually working really well, or is it your absentee list that's working well? So you want to start looking at the numbers. I would not make the decision based on one marketing campaign that you do. You want to at least give it at least 4 to 6 mailing campaigns or over 6 months period of time just to be able to make that decision. And you'll start noticing a trend. Hey, it's really my absentee list that's crushing it, or it's my probate list that's crushing it. You will start realizing that one of the marketing channel is giving you higher ROI than the other. And then you can make a decision, hey, is it worth investing in both of them, or should I just double down on one and cut back the other one? At a minimum, I would say you want to see minimum 3x on your ROI. So every dollar that you're putting into your business, you want to see in marketing dollars, you want to see minimum 3x. So if you're spending $5,000 in direct mail or any marketing, you want to see minimum 15,000 come back into your business. If it's anything less than 3x, then I would seriously consider cutting that out and looking at a different marketing channel, right? So that's another thing. And then, and we can go into how to track these numbers. So what you want to do is there's a couple of different ways to do that within REsimpli. You can link up your bank account. I'm an accountant, so I have everything linked up in my account. Or you could just do add a manual bank account and then track it that way. So I'm just going to use this. So let me see, this is linked. I'm going to use a manual bank account for this example. Let me go into KPI so I can show you in real time what that looks like. All right. So I have in my direct mail, I have $4,000 in probate, 6,000 in other, and then you can see, my ROI is different. If I just looked at a blended ROI, it shows me $13.67 for my direct mail. But when I, double click on it and I see my probate is actually giving me $8.75, and my other list that I'm marketing to is giving me $16.95. So now let's say if I had one additional dollar to invest, any additional dollar that I've invested in marketing, I would definitely want to look into my other marketing channel before I look into the probate. So I want to make sure that this I'm fully optimizing, because this is giving me a higher ROI on my marketing dollars than the other one. So I want to make sure I keep, investing more into it until, you'll reach a saturation point where this will start coming down. And once it starts coming down to, the average of 13, that's when you want to start looking, hey, does it make sense to add another marketing channel into my mix, or keep optimizing the existing ones that I have? All right, so it's super easy to track. Let's say if I'm going to add a transaction, and if you have your bank account linked, it pulls most of the data automatically. So let's say if I spend $2,000 and this is money out, let's say this was online, and I can, when you're adding your marketing business for property address, you want to select general business because it's not attached to a specific property. It's part of your general business that you're running. And then in the account, you want to select direct mail because I'm putting this expense towards direct mail. And then in the campaigns, you're going to see all the campaigns that you have running in your business. If you don't select any campaign, it's going to go to other as default. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do direct mail marketing. And I highly recommend that you attach any receipts or invoices that you have. I've gone through an IRS audit. It's a very painful process, but I had all my documents and everything attached with my, with my transaction. So made it super simple. So it's very easy process. Just click attach, and any invoices, documents that you have, attach it with that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you kind of what it does in KPI. So you see I have 4,000, 6,000, total 10,000 that I've spent. So once I click on add and I go back and refresh my numbers, it's going to get updated. So this went up to 12,000, right? And then this went up to 8,000 from 6,000, and my ROI came down. So as you're putting more money into marketing, this is getting updated in real time. And then all your numbers, cost per lead, cost per deal, and especially ROI would also get updated in real time. And as you make any money on a property, your revenue number would also get updated. Let me just look at and property as an example. Let's see, direct mail. All right, so this one, let me see one if I can find in the other campaign. Otherwise, I'll just use this. I'll just use this as an example, 1038 North Revere in Mesa. All right, so I go back. So when you're adding your revenue numbers, you want to go into, your banking. Go into your test account or the account that you have linked. And in this case, it would be, let's say I made, got a check from a title company for $50,000. This was money in, and this would be 1038 North Revere. And then account would be, your wholesale fee, fix and flip profit, or whatever it was. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. And then when I go back into my, this was higher. All right, so once I go back, so I have a total revenue of 136,000. So once I refresh, this should go up by 15,000. Yeah, so it went up to 151,000, and I put my revenue in 1038 North Revere, which is my direct mail probate list. So the revenue automatically went into my probate list against my probate list. So I don't have to go back and map. And now if you look at my ROI, it's pretty even. roughly about $12.50 on probate, $12.50 on other, and so blended average of $12.64. So this is where, when you're making your decision in your business, let's say you have another $5,000 that you want to put into marketing. Now your ROI is pretty similar on both of them. Then you want to look at, okay, which marketing has given me more deals? So I've gotten 9 deals from my probate list versus just 1 from my other. So I would want to put more money into my probate list because I have higher chance of getting a deal from my probate list versus getting it from my other marketing list that I have. And I have very similar ROI in both of them.